from malnutrition to obesity. So I actually have
Keep it tight. We know you have a lot.
So we all know there's like two specific types of malnutrition. So one of them is chronic malnutrition, which is actually characterized delaying the development of a child's growth. So in terms of like height, so typically a 5-year-old should be this height, but they're this height, so they would be considered malnutrition. And the other one is actually acute malnutrition, which actually has to deal with the weight. So let's just say an average 6-7-year-old is supposed to be 50 pounds. You're still at 40, 35 years malnutrition or at a high risk of malnutrition. So we all know that malnutrition has always been around, but not many people know about it. Like beforehand, but now they know about it now, but they don't know too much about it. So they just know like the basics. And they really don't know a lot of factors that are considered to be taken if you're malnourished. So I'm just going to name a few. And one of them is actually having a restricted diet, so not being able to get the micronutrients, certain foods, and all that stuff in your diet that you're supposed to have that's giving you the essential vitamins that you need. So like in developing countries, let's just say they had a drought and their livestock is not as good as what it was before. So by them not having their livestock, they're not going to be able to sell as much as before, and not being able to sell as much as before, they're getting less money, so they're not going to be able to buy as much food as they could buy before, so they're going to look into other options, like, I'm trying to save money, what can I get with this budget? And there's actually this tool that you can use, which is known as MUST. So it's Malnutrition Universal Screening Tool, and that's what you can use for people that are malnourished or at a high risk of being malnourished. So what the breakdown of it is, you look at the person's weight, height, and body mass index, and then from there, you would look at a graph and see like how much weight have they lost, like how much have they like decreased in height, and then from there you would check to see if they have any illnesses. So like if they have a mental health issue, digestive, all that stuff, not being able to eat properly or like getting breastfed properly because the mother doesn't have enough nutrients to provide for the baby. And then from there you would add the overall score of the child being malnourished or at a high risk. And then what we want to do is make a plan for them so we can get them on the path to being malnourished, to being more nutritious. So we all know that being malnourished does not only affect pregnant women, but it affects their children and the next generation. That's it. So pregnant women are actually supposed to increase their calories by 300, because obviously they're life being there. So we know by the mother being malnourished, there's a lot of complications that can happen during the pregnancy and after and even during childbirth. So one of them is actually preterm birth, which would be giving the baby, delivering the baby beforehand. And there's excessive bleeding during the childbirth. So a possibility that can arise is having a hemorrhage, and then from there it could lead to something else and maybe possibly even the mother dying before the child is born. Or the child becoming anemic, and lastly, neurological issues, all stemming from the mother not being able to get the nutrients. So I actually have a little quote, and it says, iron deficiencies cause neurological issues, mental deficiencies, etc. So So what the article basically wants you to interpret is that by you not having these micronutrients, it's affecting you. So it's not only physically, it's also mentally, and how you're going to be able to process and learn moving forward. And I actually have some statistics on what it does being malnourished. So it says 38% of children in less developed countries have had their growth stunted by malnutrition. Malnourished children score 7% lower on math tests and are 19% less likely to be able to read by the age of 8. The poorest 40% are 2.8 times more likely to suffer long-term effects from malnutrition than people that are known in the British population by 10%. So what we know